forces physics problem. I made this one up and it's one of my favorites. Let's just imagine that I'm going to show it to you, but you won't be able to see it because I'm looking at it the wrong way. Imagine that I want to hold this eraser on the wall like that. Okay, so I'm going to push it upwards a little bit at some angle theta. And I want to know what's the minimum force that I need to push on that in order to keep it up. Okay, so we've got a lot of things to do here, and I'm going to start off with a different problem just to get the ball rolling. So this different problem says I'm not going to push at an angle, I'm going to push straight. I'm pushing straight in like that. So let's go ahead and draw a force diagram for this eraser. I have it's a different object because it's 0.5 kilograms. But I picked a coefficient of static friction, I picked the mass, and I picked the angle. But let's see how hard I would have, the minimum amount of force I'd have to push on this to keep it up. Okay, so we're going to start off in that case with a free body diagram. So let's start with, I'm going to go ahead and draw the wall again. And here's my box, and there's my dot. So we want to think about what is touching the box and what long-range forces do we have on the box. So the long-range force is easy. It's the gravitational force. So the gravitational force pulls straight down because it's an interaction with the Earth. So let's put that right here, and let's write that as mg. Now, what's touching the box? There are only two things that touch the box. One, the force, whatever's pushing on it. I didn't mean to get the balloons, but you got the balloons for free. And then the wall. Okay, the wall can actually exert two forces. We break it into two forces just to make our lives easier. But let's just go ahead and put this force right here. I'm going to call this just F. It's the force from my finger. I'm just going to call it F. And now we have a normal force and a frictional force. So normal force is perpendicular to the surface. But because I have a vertical surface, perpendicular is this way. So I'm going to put my normal force right here. And now what force, we're in equilibrium, so the net forces have to add up to zero. There's a downward force, there has to be an upward force. What force is that? Well, that would be parallel to the surface, and so it's actually going to be a static friction force that prevents the block from sliding. The next thing that we want to do, and I'm trying to do this the same way, right? We don't want to like intuition our problem. We want to follow a process of solving this problem. The next thing I want to do is to pick my x and y axis. So which way is my x-axis? Which way is my y-axis? Well, it seems clear. It's not required, but it seems clear that if I pick that as my x and that is my y-axis, that will make my life a little bit easier. You don't have to make your life easier. You can make your life harder. And sometimes I respect that. But here, that's what I'm going to pick. Now I can write down Newton's second law. Newton's second law says that the net force is equal to zero because the object's at rest. And we like to break that into two equations, one for the x direction and one for the y. So I have F net in the x direction is zero, and that's going to be, let's just go ahead. What are the components of forces in the x direction? Well, that's in the x direction, so it's just in. That's in the negative x direction, so it's minus F. That has no x component. It's not pointing in the x direction at all, and neither is that. So that's it. And those are scalar values, right? They're not vectors anymore because we switched to the x components. In the y direction, net y, again, is zero because it's at rest. I have the upwards pushing friction force and the downwards gravitational force. And so you notice here, like when we're in the negative y direction, I include it as negative, even though it's the sum of the forces. This is a component. It has a negative y component. Okay. So there's what we have, right? I know the mass. I know g. I don't know n. I don't know F. I don't know the frictional force. So let's talk about static friction. Remember, static friction is a type of constraint force, not an exact constraint force. So static friction, the magnitude of static friction, and call it Fs for static friction, is less than or equal to some coefficient mu, that's the Greek letter mu, coefficient of static friction, mu sub s, times the normal force, how hard those two surfaces are pushed together. Okay. Now, it could be anything less than that. But if we're looking for the minimum force, we want to look for, we're going to set this equal to the coefficient of static friction times the normal force. And that way we'll find the smallest normal force that we can have, which will give us the smallest pushing force. So up here, I'm going to use equal to. Does that make sense? So down here, I can go ahead and solve for n. This gives me n equals F, right? If I just add F to both sides. And here, instead of the static friction, I'm going to put in mu sub S times n. So I get mu sub S times n minus mg equals 0. And then I'm going to put this in, mu S F minus mg equals 0. That's pretty easy to solve for F. So I get F equals mg over mu S. So that's the minimum force I would need to push on the block. And we can plug that in later. But I'm going to put it over here just so we remember. F min 1 is mg over mu S. Okay. Now let's do the problem that we really wanted to do, which is that one. And we're going to come back to this. So we're going to do the same thing, essentially, right? Same process. So the only thing different is now my force is at a different, is not in the negative x direction. So let's just draw a new free body diagram. I'm not going to draw the block. I'm just going to draw a dot. So I have the downward gravitational force. That's still there. This is a vector diagram. I have the normal force this way. That's still perpendicular to the surface. I still have the frictional force up. Okay. But now, instead of my pushing force this way, it's going to be at some angle like this. And let's just call that theta for now. We can plug in the value later. So now we have a new diagram. We need to again pick our x and y axis. I think this is a good idea. X and y like that. That's my y axis. But, you know, again, I want you to be happy. That's all I want. And again, I can write down Newton's second law. Let's just go ahead and write the Newton's second law in the x and the y direction. So I'll put it right up here. F net in the x direction. Okay, so what forces are in the x direction? I have n. So I have n. And then that's in the y direction, that's in the y direction. But now I have a component of this force in the x direction. So if I just draw my little force all by itself right here, just to be clear, here's my x component right there. Let's use blue. Here's my y component. And there's my angle theta. So in this case, my x component is the adjacent side of this right triangle. Cosine of theta is adjacent of hypotenuse. So I'm going to use the cosine function to find my x component here. So this is going to be minus f cosine theta. And so why is it minus? Because it's in the negative x direction. Okay, so it looks a lot like the previous equation, except I have that cosine theta in there. Now for the y direction, F net in the y direction, I'm going to get the friction force. I'm going to get gravity in the negative direction. And then I'm going to get a component of this pushing force in that same direction. And there's going to be F sine theta. So it's going to be plus F sine theta equals 0. Now, I still have the condition that if I want to push with the minimum force, the frictional force, the static friction, is less than or equal to mu s times n. But I'm looking for the smallest force. I'm looking at this being equal to mu s times n. Up here, let's just go ahead and solve for n. I get n equals f cosine theta. And then I'm going to plug in, this becomes fs equals mu s n. I'm going to plug that in too. So I get mu s n minus mg plus f sine theta equals 0. And now I can put in my n value. I get mu s f cosine theta. I'm going to move this next. Plus f sine theta minus mg equals 0. So all we've done is to take really 3 equations and combine them into just one equation. And now there's only one thing I don't know here, and that's f. I know mu s, I know theta, I know m, I know g. So I can actually solve for that. Let's solve for this smartly. Okay? We don't have to solve for it smartly. You can just plug in your values if you want, but I don't want to do that. So right here, what I'm going to do is factor out the f and I'm going to move mg to the other side. So I get f times mu s cosine theta plus sine theta equals mg. Now I can solve for f by dividing by that. And I get f equals mg over mu s cosine theta plus sine theta. And we can plug in our numbers, but I'm going to check first. Let's check our value, our answer here. Number one, I want to make sure that my answer has the right units. So I know that my answer has to be in newtons because it's a force. So here I have mass and I have g. Remember g, put it right down here, g is 9.8, the magnitude is 9.8 newtons per kilogram. So if I multiply kilograms times newton per kilogram, I get newtons. That's good. Okay. Next, down here, I have on the bottom, I have mu, which is a coefficient. So it doesn't have any units. Cosine is a ratio of sides of a triangle. It doesn't have units. Same thing for sine. So there's no units on the bottom. So I get kilograms times newtons per kilogram is newtons. Good. Okay. Now let's check something else. Let's check what would happen. What if I push at an angle of 0 degrees? What if I put theta to 0? Then I go back to this case where I'm pushing straight into the wall. Well, if I put in theta equals 0, cosine of 0 degrees is, if you want to put it in your calculator, you can, but it's 1. Sine of 0, if you want to put it in your calculator, you can, but it's 1. Okay, it's 0. I should put it in the calculator. Okay, so I get mu s times 1 plus 0. So if that's the case, I get f is mg over mu s. So it agrees with our other solution over here. That's really important, right? Our limiting case is the same thing. Whereas before we just said, if I put a generic theta value, then it should still work for the case where I had it pushed horizontal. What about the other extreme case? What if theta is 90 degrees? Well, if I put in 90 degrees for cosine theta, I get 0. And I get sine of 90 is 1. So that gives me f equals mg. So this would be the case, what if I want to push with the minimum force like this to hold it up? So I'd have to, I'm not even using friction from the wall, right? I'm not even really in contact with the wall. I'm just holding up the eraser. So that makes sense too. Okay, finally, let's put in our value that we have up here. So I'm going to leave off the units. I'll write it out, and then we'll put it in our calculator. So we get F equals M, 0.5 kilograms, 9.8 newtons per kilogram. Remember, this is 9.8. This is not negative. We already took into account the direction. Don't put in negative. And then the coefficient of friction is 0.3 times the cosine of 33 plus the sine of 33. So let's put that in our calculator. Now be careful with two things. Number one, order of operations. I have a sum down here. Make sure you don't divide and then add. And then number two, make sure your calculator is in degrees mode, not radians mode. So I'm going to use my calculator right here. You use your calculator, and we can check. So I'm going to put 0.5, 9.8 times. Now I'm going to do the bottom. So I have 0.3, enter. This is an RPN calculator, so it's a little bit different. And then 33 cosine times 33 sine plus divided by. And I get 6.15. This is technically F min. 6.15 newtons. So, you know, just as a comparison, F90, right, if I wanted to just hold it up, that'd be 0.5 times 9.8, and that's 4.9 newtons. So I'm actually having to push harder to hold it up here than if I just hold it up. I will tell you, though, that if you just push it this way, it's less than that. And if you want an extra little problem for yourself, it's not trivial, but it's not impossible. You can do a little playing around with it. You can say, what's the angle? What angle would be the easiest to hold it up? It's somewhere between 0 and 90. And it depends on the coefficient of friction, okay? And sometimes this is the easiest, but it depends. So you can play around with that if you want as a little extra problem. It's kind of fun. Okay, hope that helps. I'll talk to you later.